Watch Who?
Hello.
And welcome to To Watch Who, a Doctor Who podcast. I'm Mark.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm a Doctor Who fan.
And I'm new to watching Who.
Watching for the very first time.
Very first time.
Here we are. We're under the sea. Under the sea.
I was like, where's he going with this?
Under the sea.
Listeners, what you're missing there is Mark's dancing too. So that was a sight to behold.
Here we are. We're just going to be floating around. Beginning of a new season.
Woo! Yeah.
Season 21.
I can't believe it.
And if I work out when this episode is coming out, it will be probably the 60th anniversary week.
Ooh.
The new episode would have either just come out or be coming out.
Exciting. Am I allowed to watch it?
Well, yeah. I mean, do you want to?
Well, I might do. I'm intrigued. I mean, we're back to Russell T Davies and it's David Tennant.
I mean, if you do, we could do a little quick, bonus reaction sometime. I mean, because it'll be ages till we actually get to it.
Exactly, yeah. I might have probably forgotten half the stuff by then. Then once a week on a Saturday night, is that right? Like every week, Saturday night?
25th, yeah, for like 3 weeks, and there's one on Christmas Day. Yeah.
Until Christmas Day?
Well, there's 4. So I think we've got like 3, and then there might be a gap, and then one. I don't know if it's confirmed. I don't know what's true and what's not. When you look on Twitter, you don't know if it's like someone's put that together.
Until the BBC says it, guys. We don't know.
But I think it's 25th for like 3 weeks, Saturdays, and then I'm not sure about the 4th.
I thought that it was 3, and then the new series starts in the new year.
I think they have said there's a Christmas Day one.
Which must be the new Doctor. Because it's been confirmed that David Tennant is the 3.
Do you know what? I feel like I should know this stuff. I'm a bit out of the loop on the new stuff. I'm thinking about Warriors of the Deep. I'm not thinking about...
Of course you are.
This new one, whatever it's called. I can't even remember. I'm not really... I don't know. I just feel like I'm out of the loop. I'll watch it, but I haven't paid that much attention. Well, actually, there's lots of things that have been happening.
Yeah, go on, tell me.
Since we last recorded, since last season. So, big thing. Everything went up on iPlayer.
Yeah.
Apart from the first story, of course. So it's the Whoniverse.
Yes, I did see that, actually. I did see that.
So did you see, like, the Whoniverse ident thing? Exactly.
Yeah, it looked really cool. It had, like, W, had, like, the Doctors, H, had companions, O, whatever it was, evil people.
Exactly like Marvel does at the beginning of their films. It's started. And then these little Tales of the TARDIS things came out with old companions.
Yeah, I haven't seen those.
Oh, we'll have to watch a few of them. There's only 3 that we can actually do which aren't spoilers.
Okay.
So you've got Jamie and Zoe.
I can do that.
You've got Stephen and Vicky.
Oh, I can do that.
Joe Grant and someone from the Sarah Jane Adventures, but I think you can do that one because that's fine. There's the 5th Doctor and Tegan, but it's got spoilers in it, so we can't do that one yet. But they are really nice. They're really cool. Stephen and Vicky is obviously a really good one, introducing the Time Meddler. So, maybe you should watch the new one. I think there's going to be some other returning things, people. I just think there would be.
It's interesting, like, to think about what they're doing or how much. I mean, I know it's already on TV, but they recorded that concert, didn't they? Because they did it down here in the Bay of the music. But the whole concert, I think, was like 2 hours, and they've done like a 90-minute cut or something. I don't know. That obviously happened. There's like these little special things, but I'm thinking more TV stuff. What's happening? I did read, but you might be about to tell me this, that they're going to show the Dalek story, which was the second story, in colour on Channel 4. Not on Channel 4, on BBC 4, sorry.
BBC 4, I was like, watching. Yes, they've colourised the Daleks.
Yeah, that's interesting.
They've cut it down to 75 minutes, so it's from 7 episodes to 75 minutes, which is great for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Barbara Radiation in colour, Ganatus in colour.
Oh, yeah, all that.
Oh my God, how amazing.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That was a surprise. And
David Tennant's doing something as well for...
It's already been...
He's in Channel 4. I mean, BBC 4.
Yeah, he's done... he's done like a documentary thing. It was on the other night, actually. I've not seen it. I'm looking forward to the Daleks in colour. I mean, if it's a success, if they do others, Keys and Marinus in colour, I'm just saying. Imagine.
Start the petition. We need to see those legs out in colour.
I know. I'm like, well, we'll start. Well, at least we'll see Gadatus in colour.
Yeah.
Rescuing Barbara and having all of that stuff going on. But the next we need Sabitha and Altos in colour, don't we?
We need Altos' legs out.
That would be the true 60th anniversary.
I think, like, when I think of like my icon of the first season, it is probably Gadatus' legs.
No, Altos.
Altos's legs. Sorry, Altos's legs are probably the like icon of season 1 for me.
Yeah, I'm going to predict. I think we're going to see Susan in the David Tennant ones. I just think because she's not in any of these mini episode things.
Did you see the thing I sent you? There was like a conversation with what's his name that played Adric.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, he wasn't in them either. Yeah.
No, but he was filming. But he was filming. He was down here in the bay, and they were all staying in the hotel, which is like 5 minutes away from me.
Yeah.
If
if they've got them all down there to do those, surely they're going to make them film something, even if it's just like a flashback or something for.
We'll see
these specials, or there's all this talk of all these other spin-offs. Is there like a whole nother companion series happening that they're filming something else? I think they're all going to be in lots of work from now on. So we'll see. Well, listeners might already know by now. By the time this episode comes out, who knows?
It's interesting.
Who knows? So it's all happening, but we are about 20 years behind. So we're on season 21, like I said.
Well, we're more. If we've got to season 20, we're 40 years behind, surely.
Oh yeah, 40 years. Yeah.
We're further behind than that, Mark.
Did you watch this on iPlayer?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I could have done, couldn't I? I just thought. I didn't think to. Actually, I was having trouble with BritBox, so that's worth knowing.
It's worth
knowing.
We've
paid for the year now, so I'm going to struggle through it. We're not paying for the next year if it's still on there. So.
Yeah, it's great that it's all on there, and it's good quality as well.
Do you think it's all going to go to Disney as well?
I think not in the UK, no. I think everywhere else around the world, I think... Well, actually, they're only on in the UK, so there was something about these mini episodes are only in the UK at the moment because of whatever reason. So,
but do you think when the new stuff comes out, because I know the new stuff will be on BBC and Disney. I'm just thinking about my subscriptions here. Like,
so in the UK...
I already watch Kardashians on Disney. Does that mean I can combine Doctor Who?
So in the UK, I think it's just iPlayer. It's Disney for the rest of the world.
Fine. Okay. Fine.
So I don't think over here we'll get it.
I don't mind iPlayer, so that's fine. I pay my license fee.
I think Disney's going up, though. I saw.
I don't pay for Disney.
Oh, okay.
I have a sharing system. Until they kick me out, I'm not paying for Disney.
Right, okay.
So I have Apple TV that my friend shares with me. And in exchange, I got their Disney.
Right. There's just so many. And it's just, I wish we just had more channels.
So, I mean, I've got Netflix, which I used to share with my mum, but can't do that anymore. So I've thought about getting, but I think I watch Netflix probably the most.
I was just thinking I haven't watched Netflix for a while. It's only when the odd documentary.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched a few Friends episodes recently with Matthew Perry passing and stuff. But anyway, so I've got that. I've got Prime. I've got BritBox. What else have I got?
You've got Disney.
Disney.
Oh, you said Disney, yeah.
And Apple. But like I say, I pay for one, they pay for the other. I've got Paramount because I like watching South Park. It's the only place for South Park.
There's too many. But then there's just the odd thing. Because I only got... Well, do you not remember? I only got Netflix because you said that very first series of The Crown came on and you were like, You should get Netflix way back. And I was like, I don't want... And I got like a free trial. And
you did like a month's trial and then kept
And then
it.
I was like, oh, this is really great. I would never have got Netflix otherwise if you hadn't have said.
And then I made you get Disney as well.
And then I only got Disney because of Only Murders in the Building. And I got... That was a free trial, but I think that's stopped now, so I'm just paying for that. And I don't want to get rid of that just yet, because I haven't finished Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah, there's some good stuff. I mean, I find, I think I go between Netflix and Disney the most. I could lose Prime, but I quite like the subscription.
Well, I could lose Prime, but that's got Neighbours on now, so which I think is free anyway. But I feel like I help fund some Neighbours at least.
Course, because it's free.
Not that Amazon, not that Amazon needs funding in any way for anything. So I don't know. There's just too many,
many.
But it's great that all this Doctor Who stuff is on iPlayer because maybe there's fans that haven't. I mean, because I bought the videos, the DVDs, the Blu-rays, and you get all the extras and stuff. But if there's someone watching for the first
time.
I mean, apart from that first story, which you don't need to watch, there's all of those episodes on there for free.
Yeah. But you can probably find the first episode or buy it, or there'll be fans out there that have set up like streams of it that people, if they do want to watch it.
And they're putting they've got like some documentaries on there. They've got the docudrama, the about William Hartnell on there and stuff. They're putting all the other bits and pieces on there. So, and all the new series stuff and all the new series spin-offs. So, I mean, that's plenty. Anyway, we should talk about Warriors of the Deep.
Oh, we should. We're like 10 minutes in.
Yeah, we should. Well, but then talking about all these different formats and things. So Warriors of the Deep, I mean, it's not my favourite. I was sort of dreading it a little bit because I think it's
really, that's interesting. I enjoyed it more than I expected.
Well, you see, there's many ways to enjoy it because I think I've still got the video somewhere, which I bought at the time. I got it on DVD.
Yeah.
It's on iPlayer.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the book. Could read the book.
Read the book.
I've got the audio narration of the book read by Janet Fielding, but then I've also got a cassette of the book read by Peter Davison as well. And I've also got the CD soundtrack of the TV.
Is this on Blu-ray this season?
Not yet, no. So it's not on Blu-ray yet, but there's already like 8 ways to consume this story, which I just happen to have anyway. And imagine that.
Not fussed about.
And that is just your typical average Doctor Who story. There's like 8 ways. So, I mean, they didn't spend much money on this. We'll get to that. But it's good value for money in terms of the BBC. They've made this for whatever in the 80s for like nothing. And the amount of money that of all these different merchandise things for one story, there's like 9 ways to consume it. If you do that for every single Doctor Who story, all of that merchandise. Just imagine
it is a very big machine.
Yeah,
but I was reading an interview. I haven't finished it actually, but with Shooty Gatwa, he's the cover of GQ, and he talks about like how he got the part, if he could get it, blah blah blah. But in all that, he talks about like how it is the heart of the BBC, and it is. It's been there. It's an icon. And in this interview, they're saying there's like 3 things that like James Bond. Like, who's going to be the next James Bond? What was the other one? And, well, the third one was Doctor Who. But, like, the things that are, like, they're so iconic. What was that second one? When I say it, you'll be like, oh, yeah.
James Bond, Doctor Who, and... Oh, what, like Miss Marple? Oh, there's...
No, Mark, let me. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to find it.
Must be something like that. Oh, Captain of Star Trek or something.
No.
They go in the same category. James Bond, Doctor Who, Sherlock Holmes, definitely.
Right, hang on.
Poirot, Miss Marple.
It was literally 7 hours ago, and at least on my laptop I can search, find James Bond. Okay. There are a few jobs in British culture other than taking over a breakfast show on BBC Radio or being cast as James Bond. There we are.
Okay.
That come as loaded with indiscriminate heft of audience expectations as Doctor Who. And I think that's fair. People have a lot of opinions on James Bond. People have a lot of opinions on who their breakfast radio show hosts are. And they have a lot of opinions on Doctor Who.
And Miss Marple, definitely.
Where does that come from? No one thinks, oh, she can't play Miss Marple. No one thinks that, Mark.
Okay. Well, I do.
You might.
Anyway, what are we talking about? Warriors of the Deep. Let's get back to actual Warriors of the Deep. So, there's many ways to watch it. So I watched some on DVD, and I did try out on iPlayer as well.
Was it easy enough to navigate?
Yeah. It's all in one place. The Whoniverse, all the seasons, all the episodes. Super easy. And some of the animations are up there as well. So,
Okay.
the ones that we haven't watched as well, like the newer ones. But this one, it was always a little bit boring for me. I have enjoyed it more this time because I think a lot of these the ones as a child that don't grab my attention because everyone's just sort of standing around talking. I do appreciate the story more now because I'm concentrating a bit more and I maybe see it in a different way. But it's the same writer as Keeper of Traken, Nissa's first story, so sort of had high hopes there, but it hasn't really worked out. I'll just go through the story and we'll
Yeah.
just... Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I'll give a very... Like, I like to usually jump in before that and give you my brief overview. I was not expecting the sea creature. What are they called again?
Well, we've got Silurians and Sea Devils.
So I was not expecting the sea devils to return.
Or the Silurians.
Or the Silurians. But you see the Silurians early on.
Well, so we see the Silurians first. So they were the ones...
I wasn't expecting the return of the sea devils, is what I'm trying to say. You know, it's not until like maybe the second episode when they come in.
Yeah, I don't think we see them till part 2. Yeah,
so that was a surprise to me, and it was a nice surprise. I did enjoy it.
Well, I wasn't sure what you think about the Sea Devils because that was the one that we really didn't have any opinion on.
They're really annoying, but it's been a while, and it was quite nice to have. Last season had a lot of return things, but in like a bit of a gimmicky way. This didn't feel that gimmicky. It felt like a bit more structured and genuine. So I don't know. We haven't seen them in a while.
That is very interesting because I was going to say it is a gimmicky thing again and they're carrying on all of that stuff from last season, and I feel like it is just for the fans again because no one else tuning into a new series of Doctor Who is going to be like, oh my gosh, it's the Silurians and Sea Devils. It's going to be the fans remembering from the third Doctor's first season these creatures are coming back, and I don't think they're very good in this, so I was like, no one's going to get excited about it.
The initial impact. So the first costumes, the Silurians costumes, are visually good but not practical.
Do you remember the first lot?
Sort of. I'm trying to remember what they look like.
This was Liz Shaw doing the vaccinations, and they were all in the caves, and they sort of they talk like this, and they went, the humans.
Oh yeah.
So they talk completely different in this.
Yeah. But the costume is actually quite impressive, but not practical. Like, you don't see anything move. But, like, that initial view, I was like, whoa, okay. And then the actual interaction is not great. Same with the Sea Devils. Impact-wise, I mean, they look really good. They sound like I remembered them sounding. It was, as soon as they started talking, I was like, that is exactly what it was. Like, I knew exactly what that was. But again, like, there was some moments like throughout, like, I think it was in the fourth one when they're taking them away and they like bump into each other. They obviously can't even see where they're going and stuff. Or like one of them pushes a button and he's nowhere near the button. Like, they're just terribly impractical costumes. They must have been so hot under those lights because it's so bright. The whole set is really bright, apart from, you know, their little undergroundy bit.
That's fair. But I just don't think it's very well directed, this story. I think that might be part of the problem. Because I actually did enjoy the actual script. It's just the execution, I think. So, yeah, we start off in this sea base. Like you say, brightly lit. That was always something. And I've said this again and again since, like, the 70s. Why do they have to do it brightly lit? It's a sea base. It should be dark and dingy and a bit more... I know it's in the future and stuff, but it's... I don't know, it's just like... Actually, the sets are actually pretty impressive because you've got different levels and loads of different corridors and it looks pretty sturdy. But if they just brought that light down and had it a bit more atmospheric, being like a sea base, you don't get the impression that it's undersea.
No, you don't. But I also think that kind of helps set some of the tone. So also, can we just talk... The very initial shot is great. Like, right at the start, there's a high shot and you can see levels and layers. That was great. So it had a lot of real promise at the start for me. It looked really, you could see there were levels. It had this really nice crane shot. There was a lot of good starts for me.
Well, then you see everyone in the base, and I don't know what year it is, but in the future, everyone has eyeshadow and very 80s hair. Everybody has taken on eyeshadow in this military base at war. the eyeshadow has to be on everybody.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if
apparently.
that... And I was thinking, like, we watch stuff... Obviously, it's in the 80s, and we also say, oh, okay, all the hair and the makeup and everything, it's all very 80s. But what I can't get my head round is, if you were in the 80s at the time and you watched this, would you notice that? Like, we watch an episode of something now where people are in, like, the fashion or in, like, I don't know, skinny jeans or something, and that it doesn't look any different because it's of the time that we're in, and it just looks... So do you think anyone were people at the time like, oh my god, why are they wearing all this eyeshadow? Or do you think because it's the 80s, they're like, everyone on TV just looks like that, it looks normal to us? Does it look weird? Because
I think they're probably just like, this is what people look like on TV. When we see things now that are set in the future, there's always sort of a very modern our look in there because we don't know. So I think almost it's the safest way to set them.
Oh well, they're not convincing as the military whatever they're supposed to be. But anyway, that was a big it's makeup and hair watch this week for everyone. And speaking of which, so we see the Doctor, and it's been a season break. He's had a haircut, his hair's shorter. Yeah. Tegan's hair's got bigger, and she's in that this is another terrible outfit for Tegan.
It's those shoes again, it's those kitten heels for me. The completely impractical kitten heels.
But is it a skirt or is it shorts? It's some weird... It doesn't fit her. Why doesn't her clothes ever fit her? It's always sort of hanging off her. I think that was
the style, Mark. Things were very loose in the 80s.
It's very... She's not... It's very loose on her. Like,
that was the style, though. Things were baggy in the 80s.
And I don't know, her legs, is she wearing tights? Because her legs look sort of yellow in a lot of shots.
Oh, probably.
Has she got
tights were varying. You wore tights.
But she looked like she got like, what's that where your skin goes yellow or whatever? It's like that. It just doesn't look right on her at all. It's not practical. She shouldn't be wearing that. I think she wore it last. No, she didn't, did she? What did she wear last time? But no, it's another fail from Tegan's wardrobe.
Yeah, it's not great.
And Turlough's in his school uniform, as always, still. Did you see the mention? Turlough's decided not to go home.
Yeah, that was mentioned early. Also, it felt like it was the first time that I've noticed the friction between the Doctor and between Turlough. Normally, I mean, prior to, all the others, but actually, even when all that shit was going on earlier, the Doctor was never friction with him. He kind of thought probably something was going on, but he was quite supportive of Turlough. This is the first time where he was a little bit like, I don't know, frictiony is what I'm going to go with.
I didn't really notice too much. I think he's just a bit like... everyone's just sarcastic now to each other. Tegan and the Doctor are quite sarcastic to each other throughout. It's just how it is now, I think. And there's no Chameleon. He's off, obviously, somewhere else. No mention of Chameleon still.
No, there's no mention of it. In fact, I completely forgot. Until you said Chameleon now, I'd completely forgotten.
Okay, so then they land on the sea base. Oh, I've written in my notes here, eyeliner sea base, sponsored by Rimmel.
Rimmel? Who's Rimmel?
Rimmel? What's that makeup brand?
Rimmel.
It could be called... No, it's called Rimmel in the future.
Of course it is.
They're all sponsored. It's the Rimmel sea base. Oh, and then I need to send you a picture. Because then we see some of the crew on the sea base. I mean, I haven't... got all of their names down because there's actually quite a big cast.
Yeah.
Oh no, I can't. My phone's gone weird again. It's all completely gone blank. Can't send you. I have to just put the picture up to the screen. So annoying. Anyway, on the base, we're on the base having a chat.
I'd feel much happier if there'd been a proper investigation into the lieutenant's death.
It was a careless accident. There was nothing to investigate.
I know. I thought that myself, Mark. Another Ginger of the future for Mark.
That's you and me out the back having a chat.
Where's she from? Her accent was strange.
I don't know. Everyone's got a bit of an accent here.
Yeah, but I was trying to pick where hers was. I was trying to think, is it European?
Anyway, we're talking about Maddox and I can't remember her name, but this is where when I'm watching it now, where I didn't pick up things when I was watching when I first got this on video as a child. So there's a war going on, and this is a sea base, and there's obviously like nuclear weapons and all things like that, which actually in the 80s and stuff was probably something a bit relevant in the news and things. But it's a good idea having this. So Maddox is like the computer brain. You have to have like a human brain linked up in order to switch on and off these weapons, which I feel like is probably something that is being worked on nowadays and probably is a thing. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Like a moral sort of like, there's a moral thing of like, you're in that position and it has to be a choice rather than just,
It's not left up to just a computer. I feel like it's very, very realistic that this kind of thing is going to happen if it hasn't already. There is a Maddox out there at the moment somewhere working on this. And as well as all this Silurian stuff, then we have the sort of Dr. Evil and her sidekick going on.
I wasn't buying into that at all, and it didn't really add anything to the story for me.
So they've got Maddox, who is supposed to be a bit unstable and doesn't want to do this brain thing. That was the whole idea of all of that. And that doctor lady has been in Doctor Who before, and I think you'll remember her. I mean, she was in the third Doctor story. She was in Atlantis with her tits out. Do you remember?
In Atlantis with her tits out? I mean...
do you remember? That's one that we... Do you remember? Because you said something about... I think the episode is called Look at the Tits on Her or something. You said, didn't you?
I mean, potentially. We've seen a lot of...
She was flirting with the Master in Atlantis.
Oh, that sort of rings a bell. Yeah.
Anyway, that's her now. She's playing the evil doctor lady. So as that episode's going on, I am getting more into... Because, I just thought all of that stuff back then was just a bit bland, especially with the set being overlit. The Silurians that we do see in episode 1, they're just a bit slow and doing that alien talk. It feels like the Sea Devils and the Silurians in this. My problem is they could have just walked out of a 60s episode. There's no difference in the acting, the costume. Like we're in the mid 80s now, 21 years of Doctor Who, and I feel like nothing has moved on in terms of someone in a costume just sort of walking and talking and being like that. And I think that's maybe the disappointment, because they're not as good as they're bringing them back, being like, oh look, it's the Sea Devils and the Silurians, but they've brought them back in a lesser way than they were in the original. I think that's what it is. So all of that's a bit boring. Although the Doctor, so they land, and it's sort of all his fault, a lot of this, because he goes in and sets off the reactor or whatever and gets everyone into trouble. It's sort of all his fault. But the end of part 1 is a really good cliffhanger where he falls into the water.
Doctor! There's nothing we can do! We can't just leave him! Face it, Keegan! He's drowned!
Yes, yeah, sorry, yes. I was just thinking, there's some really good cliffhangers, I think, in this, actually.
Well, I mean, I like the fall. I don't like the bit where he literally just has landed in the water and Turlough's like, he's drowned, let's go. Like, that's typical Turlough. He doesn't give him a minute. He's like, face it, Tegan, he's drowned. Yeah. He's only just landed.
Turlough is very negative in this story. It's probably the most negative he's ever been. I mean, like, he was more positive when he was trying to deceive everyone than when he is in the story. He is uber negs.
Yeah, like everything is just like, yeah, we're going to die. This is it. He's gone. Come on, Tegan, let's go. No, not even attempting to, like, check to see. He's just gone onto the water, like, once. So that was a funny cliffhanger. I like the underwater filming going into part 2 with Peter. It's actual Peter Davison under the water.
Yeah, no, that was really good. I did have a moment where I was like, is he going to come out and his clothes are going to have, like, sucked at him and Mark's going to talk about seeing his penis again? But you didn't. No. You haven't so far.
Hang on, I've never said that. I've said VPL, that's all. Well, he gets hit close watch. He gets changed into this boiler suit for the rest of this episode. So it's quite... Maybe that's sort of changes the atmosphere, because Tegan's the only one in like an impractical outfit after that, because you don't have the Doctor's sort of brighter costume. Turlough gets separated a bit and goes off. It's not a great story for Turlough. Again, he still hasn't... Do you feel like you know Turlough any more than you did when he first...
No. And he's still in the same outfit. It's not a good story for him at all.
And everyone's sort of wandering around a bit. And then part 2, this is where we see the Sea Devils, but it's all very slow and they're being unearthed and they're talking slow. And all of those scenes between the Sea Devils and the Silurians in the base are just not well directed. They're just flat on. hiss, 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 hiss.
But there's not a lot of dialogue anyway.
That's the thing. It's not interesting. It's not. They're like, we're going to come. Like, we know that they're planning to invade the base, but that's about it. Which is a very sort of second Doctor
and also,
story.
Nothing happens for 2 out of the 4 episodes. Nothing. Like, as in, I watched the first 2, and then it was like the third one, and I was like, oh my gosh, they still haven't done anything. Like, I was starting it. I did 1 and 2 together, and then I watched 3, gap 4. I couldn't get over like how nothing had happened, basically.
Well, you have got like 2 plots going on, like the invasion thing and this Dr. Evil and Maddox thing, but it doesn't really go anywhere.
It doesn't really go anywhere. That really doesn't go anywhere for me.
No, I was surprised actually because I thought there was more of that. I didn't remember that going on.
The plots actually were the invasion, right? But them trying to get the Doctor, Tegan, and Turlo.
Well, they're sort of running around for a lot, but
They're
actually
running around a lot.
But to be a bit more positive, the commander is actually an okay commander. You know, we usually get a dickhead commander that's going to be lock them up. I don't believe you. We have a bit of I don't believe you, but then they work together pretty quickly, and actually he is all right. He is understanding and gets on. I think because we've got the Dr. Evil side of things, we can't have a dickhead commander as well. So actually, with everyone on the base and everything, they work. At least they sort of believe the Doctor fairly quickly, and we don't have to go through all of the locking up again. Oh no, or do we? Do they lock them up a bit? Oh no, that's when the Silurians come in a bit later on. The Silurians lock everyone up, but at least the commander and that they're working together, at least. But this is the thing as well, because you know when we always talk about side characters and. There wasn't anyone in this that was like, oh, that was a great guest person of the week that we're going to remember until, unless it's us two, but then we don't like. But there's no one else that. Everyone is in it quite a lot, but no one. There was that blonde lady.
There's really not the blonde lady and the guy in the red.
Yeah,
literally only 2 that like help. But they don't help loads. I mean, they do actually. That's not fair. They do. They are sort of part of that core getting them out. But it's because nothing happens until the 3rd episode.
Oh, I've got another photo to show you, which I've never noticed before, and it might not be, but I think our favourite guest artist, lady.
What did we name her?
What do we call her?
Gosh, I'm going to text David now and we might get a response.
Her from Nightmare of Eden. I think she's a guard in this. What do you think? Is that her? I'll put this.
Oh, I reckon that could be her.
Do you think?
That could be her, yeah.
I mean, we're like 4 years later than Nightmare of Eden. 4 or 5 years. I shall put that picture up when this episode goes out to see if it is crew lady being attacked by Mandrill that is in Warriors. I think it is.
You need to send me that.
But anyway, as we carry on in part 2, I was saying not a lot happens particularly. And then towards part 2, this is what the story is known for. Oh, by the way, this comes out really low in loads of polls, by the way.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, like I said, I'd probably rate it a 6 out of 10. So it's like just above average. Again, but we've talked about this before. Like, if I'd have had a really long week and I was sat there having to do this, I'd probably be like, this is like 3, 4. But I'd had quite a good week. I had some time to actually watch it. That makes a massive difference. Maybe because we've had a bit of a gap.
But the main thing that this is always comes out bad in the poll and is known for is the Myrka.
Yeah, the Myrka was terrible. But again, total like the Myrka's very initial appearance, because it was all dark and ooh, then you bring it into the bright submarine and it was awful. It was terrible. Yes, I agree.
So to be fair, I think there were like strikes going on, so they lost studio time, and literally nobody had seen it until it came onto set to be filmed. And I think the story goes the paint was still wet on it as well. It was getting paint everywhere. There was no time to change anything. Everyone just looked at it and was like, it's a pantomime horse. And I mean, I think it's okay. It's not so terrible. What I think is really worse is when the door collapses and it's a foam door that it walks on that collapses on Tegan. It's supposed to be an underground metal barricade, and this foam door just flops down.
See,
and
for
lands on
me,
Tegan.
my worst moment was when one of the guys literally tripped over it, and you saw it you saw the sort of squishiness on it. Like, that for me was the worst moment. I can get over a foam door because I'm like, well, they're not going to have like a heavy door fall on her.
Yeah, but it's in the story, a door falls on Tegan and she just walks away fine. It's the cliffhanger. She's trapped under the door. Like, they're going to leave her to die under this door because, and like, she would have been totally scraped up. She would have been really badly injured, but it's a foam door. So the Doctor just sort of pretends to lift it a little bit and then we get out of the cliffhanger. In terms of script, yeah, very exciting moment, everything. But it's the execution, I think, is the problem here. It's just, if it could have been more close-ups. But again, there's me moaning about it. If I had like only an hour to film this whole thing or whatever in that studio time, then what else are you supposed to do? So you can't be really too harsh on it. I keep starting off being positive and then it just slides down into negative. But it's just the production. It's just these production things that sometimes.
But also, that's interesting. If you're saying there was like either strikes or something, like I think that there is a sort of rushed feel to it.
I'm pretty sure they didn't have enough time. They just.
It's just a shame because, like I say, those initial moments and appearances are really strong, and it made me go in like, oh, okay, and then it doesn't really go anywhere, or it takes so long for things to happen. Equally, though, I don't think they could have appeared any sooner because they were so bad on that set, moving and talking and everything. And I think also, for me, I find them a really fascinating baddie because up until that, and it's only the 4th episode where they actually talk about what their plans are, really. But like, they've always been like, we want to work, we want to dominate, and now they're like, no, it's obvious that you don't want to work together. We're gonna.
Okay, yeah.
And that's why I've always found them quite an interesting character because the Doctor's very much but they're so intelligent, they're clever, the original, all that sort of stuff. So it almost feels a little bit of a cop-out, though, I thought, writing-wise, to be like, no, actually, we've tried twice before, and now we're just going to kill people.
Well, I think, yeah, you're right. This is where, if we leave all the production stuff and talk about, like, the actual deep thought behind it, we really like that first Silurian story, where they'd woken up, they didn't realise man had taken over the world, and they were like, oh, we thought this was our world, basically. I know they release a plague and stuff, and Liz has to get the vaccine and all of that stuff. And then it ends with the Brigadier blowing them up when the Doctor's like, no, I can't believe you murdered them all. We could have worked together. And he's trying to do the peace. And I think, well, the Sea Devils, the Master was using the Sea Devils. They were slightly different, weren't they? They didn't really have much else going on. They'd woken up under the sea, but that's about it. And the implication is that the main Silurian guy that talks to the Doctor is supposed to be the same one that talked to the 3rd Doctor.
Yes, yeah.
It's supposed to be that. And it's a good thing for this Doctor, actually. I've never seen him so morally annoyed or fighting. It does give him something else. That was quite nice
to see when they're all dead. Those sort of moral things. And that's something that I've always quite liked. Like, look, we can talk about how annoying their voices are. We can talk about the weird costume. We can talk about all that. But in terms of like the idea of what that character is, it's always a very interesting one.
And these human beings will die as they have lived, in a sea of their own blood.
Yeah, because also there's this, whatever, we don't really find out what is going on in this war. We know there's a sea base, the world is at war between A and B, and they're getting ready, and this is going to happen. And it's the Silurians, they're not like, we're going to invade you, we're going to bomb you or something. They're like, we're just going to set off the bomb here, and the other guys, you're going to wipe each other out. We're just going to sit back, wait for you to wipe each other out, and then we'll take over the world. That is a really interesting idea.
Yeah. There's an argument to, are they a villain? Because, like, well, up until now, they've never tried to harm. So, anyway, yeah, I think that's something that could have been explored more, I feel. But they didn't have it. Literally, they didn't appear for 2 episodes of the 4.
But also, it's set up in part 1 that there's this gas that can kill marine life. So that's like Chekhov's gas at the beginning of the part 1, isn't it? And I like how the Doctor's like, no, we're not going to use it straight. There's got to be a different solution. but then he's sort of forced to just do it and use it, and everyone else is sort of like, let's just do it, and he doesn't want to, and everybody dies. All the people on the crew, all this, it's just the Doctor, Tegan and Turlough left, which I don't think we've had that properly before, and it's a very bleak ending.
It is.
Just cuts
it is
like that, which is a bit of a shocker, actually.
But it also, I don't know. We're at war now in the world. Like, it's that sort of it's that moral dilemma of like, because he says like, you humans, like, and you always go to this like, and then Turlough goes, but what's the other option? It's a very sad demise, but it is also the war. It's war, and it's braver not to and to try, but you both have to want to do that and want to see that. It's terrible.
But saying that, where the Doctor's like, there should have been another way, we shouldn't have done this.
Great cliffhanger as well.
Yeah,
I thought to end that end episode on that moment and that line, great cliffhanger.
But the Doctor spends about 2 episodes working out how to kill the Myrka. And I know it's rampaging.
He tries to stun it.
How does it die? Oh yeah, it does. It does eventually die. But no, I suppose okay, yeah, fair enough. He's trying to like blind it and stun it, but it's like, yeah, okay, it is a different way. It is his way of doing it rather than. But it's just those 2 episodes. The Sea Devils are walking really slow. Turlough's just sort of falls in with the troops and doesn't really do much else. But yeah, it's just a shame. It's all those last 5 minutes are the most sort of dramatic and interesting.
But I think like there's so much that could have. That is the moral complexities of those characters and that situation, and that could have been so much more explored. I don't think that's a directing thing, Mark. I know you said you've read the script, but I think like when you read something, you have a different pace, and I don't think that's a directing thing.
I think you could have weaved in the Dr. Evil stuff a bit more to show where they're from on the other side. They could have been a clue to actually what's happening within the world and build that up a bit. You could have more of that.
I don't think that mattered because it didn't matter who they were. I almost think that distracted because for me, it didn't matter who they were at war with. It's the fact that like it should have been made really clear that like, well, we're at war. And until they attack, we don't attack, or like, and they do set that up very well at the start. I almost felt that other side, that like sabotagey thing was just sort of getting in the way. And then once we get them in, and then it's the morality element and of war and of killing, because that's what is in this world now that they're doing. They're obviously at war. These new older creatures come in. Like you say, it all happens in the last 5 minutes. And actually, there were elements of that could have been peppered better throughout to really give like I would have liked to have seen more of the elements of because it's interesting that I was like, no, he stunned him, and you had to think about that. And if there had been more of like the Doctor trying to show different methods, trying to do that, and then it happens at the end that everyone dies anyway, that would have been like but there are other ways. What could we? And there just wasn't enough time for that. So I don't think it's the directing. I think it's more the script itself, which when you're reading something, you choose your own pace and you choose your own tempo of that moment.
There's one moment that we haven't mentioned, which we have to, because everyone will want us to mention it, because it's the other famous moment in this. When Dr. Evil Lady dies, she gets killed by the Myrka, and she tries to karate kick the Myrka for some reason.
Yeah.
That is the most famous. I know, like, what? I mean, you say don't blame the directing. I mean, who in their right mind would be like, right, I want you to go up to this creature, try and karate kick it, and get electrocuted by this thing?
Maybe it was because of the design of it, that if she'd have gone into it in a different way.
She's like,
Maybe it was a design thing, but yeah, no, it's not great. We've talked. There's a few things that are not great in this.
No, but it's those things that aren't great are the things where, as a child, I would be embarrassed about Doctor Who. Be like, this is what people think Doctor Who is like, and is not cool. And it's the Sea Devils and Silurians walking really slow. It's karate kicking the pantomime horse thing. It's the foam doors.
Yeah. Whereas
it does encapsulate.
I think that the morality of it is the most interesting element.
But then that's what I really picked up on watching it now and concentrating on it a bit more. And now when I watch it again, I will see it in more of that way of the bit more of the background.
This also comes back to our argument, though. The more, not terrible, but the more boring and more, difficult stories, actually we talk about the most. I went really northern there, most, because we're at 50 minutes of recording.
We didn't start until like 15 minutes in. Yeah. Well.
Yeah, but still, we have more to talk about with this because there are things to say.
Yeah. I think people should give it another go and just look at it more in terms of the storyline and try and look past the production stuff. But I mean, it's not a grand opening to season 21, particularly, I don't think. That's the only thing.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Well, I've got some good news, though. The next story is 2 episodes.
There's such great moments. There's such great moments.
I know, I knew you'd be pleased.
Yeah.
So early on.
Oh, go on. What's it called?
Oh, it's called The Awakening.
Oh, suspicious.
It's a good one.
Okay.
It's a good one.
I just realised, because we are recording and we normally talk about live stuff, and I should have talked about the fact that I'm looking after kittens and I could have been given kitten updates.
Yeah.
I'm looking after kittens, everyone.
Well, you did mention, when was it? Maybe it was the 5 Doctors.
No, I had to give birth to the kitten. I didn't give
kittens.
birth, and that would be horrific.
No, the neighbours' kittens. The neighbours had kittens.
Yeah, she's now gone away for 3 weeks. So they are 3 weeks old tomorrow. We'll post some. Mark's got pictures, so as the episode comes out, we'll post them.
Yeah, I'll put the pictures up. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll get a kitten update first thing next time, because it's a 2-episode one anyway, so there won't be tons to talk about. So we can do that then. And yeah, hopefully everyone is going to enjoy all the 60th stuff that's on. We should watch The Colour Daleks. Or talk about it at some point, or do it as a
we should definitely do it. We'll do it, yeah.
And I really want you to see the mini episodes as well, so we'll have to organise that and do that.
Lots to do.
And if you're going to watch the David Tennant one, why not?
Yes, so busy month for Sarah.
But in the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 2watchwho, and you can support us on buymeacoffee.com/2watchwho. There we go. Right, we've been floating around here under the sea all this time. We better go and
under the sea.
We better go and dry off. I need to work on these intros. They've just totally gone downhill.
You used to give it more thought. That's the trouble. And then you come in blind. And you panic. I know. And I'm like, where is this going?
No, next time. Oh, I didn't tell you. Okay, I'll tell you next time. No, I've just looked at my notes again. I was going to tell... I meant to tell you this, about 2 months ago.
Just tell me now.
I had a biscuit, but it was an Earl Grey biscuit.
Oh, okay.
So it was like shortbread, Earl Grey shortbread.
How did you feel? Did you get angry while eating it?
No, it was really nice.
Okay, but it didn't make you angry?
No, it didn't.
Okay.
It didn't. So that's why I needed to tell you.
Just the tea form makes Mark angry. Biscuit forms are fine.
So it was like shortbread, but I think it just had Earl Grey tea just mixed in.
Yeah, probably.
Tea leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice. Anyway.
On that note.
Next time. Yeah, we'll see you later, everyone.
Bye.
Watch who?
Doctor Who? What are you talking about?